A life sentence is a devastating and life-altering event for anyone. It indicates that a person will spend the rest of their life behind bars with little prospect of ever regaining their freedom. There are women who have committed heinous crimes and have been sentenced to life in prison, despite the common association of dangerous criminals with males. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at the most dangerous women reacting to life sentences. Yeah, you heard it right. Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos, also known as the Damsel of Death, was a notorious serial murderer who operated in Florida during the late 1980s. Wuornos was found guilty of murdering 7 men that she claimed had assaulted or attempted to assault her while she was a prostitute. In 1992, she received the death penalty for 6 of the 7 homicides and a life sentence for the 7th. Her responses to her life sentence were characterized by rage and defiance. She attacked the court and the legal system, maintaining her innocence and condemning her victims for their own deaths. She displayed no remorse for her actions and was notorious for her outbursts and violent courtroom behavior. Rosemary West. During the 1970s and 1980s, Rosemary West and her spouse Fred West committed a string of heinous crimes in the United Kingdom. Due to their horrific acts they committed against young women, including their own daughters, they were known as the House of Horrors murderers. Rosemary was found guilty of 10 counts of homicide and given a life sentence in prison. She responded to her life sentence with denial and apathy. Despite the overwhelming evidence against her, she maintained her innocence and placed the blame on her spouse. During her trial, she exhibited little emotion and appeared detached from the gravity of her actions. Myra Hindley. Myra Hindley was a notorious British serial killer who, along with her partner Ian Brady, committed the Moors murders in the 1960s. 5 infant children were abducted, tortured, and murdered before being buried on the Yorkshire Moors. Hindley was found guilty of 2 counts of homicide and given a life sentence in prison. Her response to her life sentence was one of disbelief and astonishment. Initially, she maintained her innocence and placed the responsibility of the murders on Brady, but she later admitted her guilt. She expressed remorse for her actions and attempted rehabilitation while incarcerated, but her crimes remain among the most abhorrent in British history. Susan Smith. Susan Smith gained infamy in 1994 when she drowned her 2 young children, Michael and Alex, by strapping them into their car seats and driving a car into a lake in South Carolina. She initially claimed that a carjacker had abducted her children, but later admitted to the offense. Smith was found guilty of 2 counts of homicide and given a life sentence in prison. Her response to her life sentence was characterized by anguish and remorse. She expressed regret for her actions and asked the victims' families for forgiveness. While in prison, she struggled with depression and attempted suicide multiple times. Karla Homolka. Karla Homolka, along with her husband, Paul Bernardo, committed a series of heinous crimes in Canada in the 1990s, including the rape and murder of 3 young girls, including her own sister. As part of a plea agreement, Homolka was convicted of manslaughter and given a 12-year prison sentence. Her response to her sentence was contentious, as she appeared to lack remorse for her actions and was criticized for her lack of accountability. Juana Barraza. Juana Barraza, also known as the Old Lady Killer or the Little Old Lady Killer, is a Mexican serial killer who operated in Mexico in the early 2000s. She pretended to be a nurse or social worker to obtain access to the homes of elderly women before brutally murdering them. Barraza was found guilty of 16 counts of homicide and sentenced to 759 years in prison, which is effectively life in prison. Her response to receiving a life sentence was defiance and denial. She maintained her innocence and claimed that she was framed by the authorities, exhibited aggressive behavior in court, and displayed a lack of contrition for her actions towards her victims. Dana Sue Gray. Dana Sue Gray is a serial murderer from the United States who operated in California during the 1990s. She pretended to be a salesperson or a caregiver before mercilessly murdering elderly women for their money and belongings. Gray was found guilty of 3 counts of homicide and given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Her response to her life sentence was one of disbelief and astonishment. She initially claimed innocence and placed the responsibility on others, but later admitted to the murders. She exhibited little remorse for her actions and seemed indifferent to the gravity of her offenses. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so that you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.